I bought another car that doesn't run. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I appreciate your guys' time. So as you can tell by the thumbnail and the little intro, I did buy another car, and I'm really pumped on it because it's a vehicle that I've wanted for quite a while. Actually, it was the first car that I ever test drove when I first got my license. Well, not this particular car, but the 80s version of it. So it is a 2003 Nissan 350Z. And for the most part, this car is super straight. The door handle has a little issue. The cable's messed up. I have that taken off. But like body wise, this car is super straight, very clean. The only problem that it has that I dislike is this one tiny little rust spot right there. But that should really not be a problem to fix. So let's talk about the problems that it has, shall we? All right, so the fella I bought this car from told me that he was driving it and everything was fine. It had a weird miss, maybe a day and a half, 2 days before it just all out stopped working. So he drove it to somewhere, got out, went inside, did whatever he needed to do, and came back outside, and the vehicle would not start. I've went through and checked the cam sensors back here, the green plug, I don't know, right there. There's the right side one. The left side one is just behind here. Checked those. The wiring's fine. Everything was plugged in fine. I checked the crank sensor, which is on the bottom side of the car, just behind the oil pan. I've pulled the plenum off completely. Checked the fuel system. So I ended up pulling off this regulator on both sides of the fuel rail, turned the ignition on, blasted fuel out, so I know it's getting fuel. The turnover of the car is really strong, so I ruled out battery and starter or alternator issues. The only thing really left is spark. Something else I did. He also read somewhere that they had some fuel pump problems, so the fuel pump's located right here behind the passenger seat. It's just like a little cover. It sits in this little box here. Pulled the fuel pump out, the whole assembly. Actually changed the pump, put the assembly back in. I didn't need it, but he said that it was messing up, so that's what I did. Yeah, and now I'm stuck with it still not doing anything but cranking. So you can turn the car on, it'll crank, it'll crank, it'll crank, it'll crank, it'll crank, but it won't start up and run. Lovely. All right, y'all, it's the following day. We did another couple of checks on the car as far as the anti-theft system is concerned. There was one situation where the light was blinking, and there's some little sequence you can do to reset that. That wasn't the problem. I pulled out a couple of relays and switched those around, just clearing kind of simple electrical stuff out of the way. And then I read something late last night that was indicating that it might be some type of ECU malfunction. And like I said earlier in the video, I've already pulled the plenum off here and checked the fuel rails and everything for pressure, which it had, but I did not think to pop the connectors off, turn the ignition on, and then check the connectors for 12 volts to make sure they're getting 12 volts. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. I've already gone through with the multimeter here and checked all of the 6 connectors going to the injectors. All 6 of them have power. They're getting, it was like 11.7, 11.8, something like that, volts, which I'm not surprised it's just a little low, because I've been, you know, starting the battery here and there, or starting the car rather here and there, seeing if what I did had an effect on it. So we're getting power to the injectors, which is, that's good. All right, just to give you guys a quick little rundown of what I'm going to be doing as far as the spark test goes. I'm going to pull the whole ignition coil out, spark plug as well, and then what I'm going to do is take and ground the spark plug out, or basically just touch it to a solid, you know, solid ground point, a bolt, you know, something that goes down to the chassis or anywhere really on the motor that's kind of got a bolt. Then I'm going to turn the ignition on, like, you know, turn the car over, and then I should see a spark. That's one way to do it. Do it again. That's it. All right, so this one actually had sparks, so that's a good sign. The only thing it's not getting is fuel delivery via the injectors pulsing correctly like they're supposed to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up here. There's nothing else that I can do diagnosis wise to this car. I think I have it narrowed down to 2 possible issues, one being the NATS system, which is basically the security system for the car. I don't think that's the problem. I think the ECU is fried, because we're not getting any fuel into the cylinders, like it's not pulsing in. So just a small recap on what I've tested and changed out. Well, let's just say tested thus far. I did change out the fuel pump because there was one that came with the car, and I said it might as well, it doesn't hurt. I've checked all the fuses, both here in the engine compartment as well as over there in the driver's side. I've tested fuel pressure at the rails. There's pressure at the rails. I've tested voltage at the connectors on the injectors. There's voltage there. I double checked all 3 sensors, the 2 camshaft position sensors and the crankshaft position sensor on the bottom. Those are fine. The wiring's fine. It's all good. Battery, the starter, the alternator, all that charging system, it's all fine. That wouldn't cause it to do what it's doing. So everything kind of really leads back to the computer not operating properly, both through my diagnostics and through what I've read and been told by people on forums and on Facebook. So I'm gonna go ahead and get an ECU on order, and hopefully it'll be here in a week or so. That'd be nice, maybe 3-4 days. That'd be great. Get it plugged in and see what happens. But with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy it, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.